Here's the agenda for today, and hopefully everybody can see that. And I will talk through everything that's going on. So if you guys can see that, that's great. Then I will start going. So first things first, welcome everyone. We've got, thank you. Is that for me? Yeah. Sweet. Can I put it on my desk? Great, thanks. So we have only Deb Ormsby's here in person. It's just you, and then Lacey's here for PSP. And then welcome Mr. Johnson, Mr. Smith, and Mrs. Ulrich. Thanks for joining us online. My pleasure. I know you guys are super busy at night, so it means a lot. You guys can make time in April when it's still nice outside. You can be walking dogs and children and all kinds of things. All right, so let's just jump right in. So first things first, budget and enrollment is our first line item on there. So we just talked about this at PSP. Our budget is sitting still in the black, as they like to say, which I like to have that. We're still 47 kids down of our projected enrollment, which is actually fairly typical for this time of year. If you remember last year, we got 86 new families. Probably 85 of those came late July. So we're not too worried at this point. Right now, we're sitting at 3 sections of kindergarten, 3 sections of first, 4 sections of second, that's our largest grade level, and then 3 sections of third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. And we're still kind of waiting to see our numbers and whether or not we need a 4th kindergarten teacher or a 4th first grade teacher. But as it stands today, we do not need those. So that's where we're sitting there. We're hoping to get those 47 kids there so we don't have to pay any money back to the district. So that's that. Staffing and enrollment. So we'll kind of the big news, and I think I might have shared this before at a PSP meeting, but probably not since our last SAC meeting, is our 6th grade next year. We'll be moving out to the mobiles. We are increasing our class size. You know, we've got the larger with the 4th, 2nd grade, and we just need extra space. We tried to remove preschool from the building, but we were thwarted. And so the response from the district was to provide us with a mobile. So all 3 of our 6th grade classrooms will be moving outside next year, which isn't super fun. But that's the best case scenario that we can come up with. And so that's kind of the big news there. On the other side is we have 2 SPED allocations that went up. Our speech language pathologist position went from 1.5 people to 2 full people. So that's good. And then our mild moderate teachers went from 3 full-time teachers to 3.5 teachers. And all of those positions have been hired. So that's good. We're not missing out on those. Those are tough positions to fill, but we jumped in early. So we are pretty happy to get those done.
And that's for next year.
And this is for next year. Yeah, not right now. It's for next year. Yep. So from there, our curriculum update, we are still continuing with Benchmark Advance, which is the literacy curriculum that we've been using all year. We're pretty excited about it. We piloted it this year, and then our entire region, so all of Parker, will be using Benchmark next year. It just makes us cooler because we have a year under our belt, and so then our teachers then become the experts, and they don't have to go through any remedial training. So we're pretty excited about that. We've got some good celebrations with staff. Our first grade team has been really celebrated throughout the district. They are going to be a part of all of the district videos that'll be training anyone doing Benchmark. So that's always exciting, and we're have a lot of pride in that. As far as math goes, we'll still continue with Ready Math that we have the last couple of years. We piloted that, we implemented that, I shouldn't say pilot, we implemented that last year. We'll continue this year. And then on from there, the district is providing us with curriculum. So that's nice. Benchmark is just updating their materials. So we'll be getting brand new 2022 materials next year. We saw those yesterday for the first time. And so we're pretty excited about it. Not a ton of changes, but just new updated materials. Everybody likes new. So we're okay with that. Unless there's any questions, I'll just keep talking. From there, we finished our 2nd week of CMAS testing last week. We have some makeups this week. All of CMAS, which is our state testing, is due on Friday, which is why my hair is slowly turning gray. We have all but 2 children are finished. We have one poor soul that has to make up. She started this morning needing 6 tests to make up, and now she's down to 4. So she's been plugging away and working hard, and hopefully she finishes up by then, and we'll be able to process that, and then I can remove CMAS from my thought process for a little while. So that's good news. Also is iReady started our diagnostic testing today. And so that's where the whole school will be testing on our year-end data, which we're pretty excited about. So we were talking last year, we left a week between when CMAS ended and when iReady began. And our entire staff complained that the kids did not take it seriously because they had a whole week off and just basically forgot about it. So then we combined that time. And so now they are upset because they feel that the kids are over tested and we should not have waited a week. So maybe next year we'll wait maybe 2 days. I don't know. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. I'm looking at my PLS Ashley. So we're just going to have to figure that out next year. So basically, we're not making anybody happy. From there, EPRs, which is our elementary progress report. I just released those templates today, so our teachers will begin to work on those. Those go live for all of our parents to see on the 27th of May at 8 a.m. And so all of our teachers' data will be due this Friday. And so then they have a chance to work on report cards for that last kind of 24 days of May. So that's kind of another date to put on your calendar because those EPRs are super exciting. From there, we have a playground update. Back in the wintertime, we secured some funding for some more playground equipment for our students with severe disabilities, which is great. Not everybody gets that. So between our severe disabilities teacher and our occupational therapist, we're able to secure what's called a roller table. So it's a long, looks like a caterpillar. It's got some bars on top and kids can like slide through. Apparently the students with severe disabilities, that's one of their favorite pieces. They like that a lot. And then we have a music component. So there's pieces that kids can come in and play on that. And again, it's not just for our severe disability students, for all students. So that's really exciting. And then each one of our classes is going to get a sensory kit. So we've got some children that get overstimulus at school, or they need to have a place where they can calm down. So each one of our classes has a whole case worth of things for kids, whether it's fidgets or wobbly chairs or any one of those things. I am not 100% sure what's in those kits because they just arrived today. So starting next year, all those will be located in all of our classrooms. So that's it for my updates. After that, I have to go through a mill and bond presentation. So do you guys have any questions on anything I've talked about so far?
No questions. I just think the playground and the school kits are really neat, very inclusive.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. Yeah, I didn't really understand what a roller table was until I saw it. So it'll be pretty exciting. And just anything that benefits the kids, we're all for it anyways.
They're neat. They help with sensory too and compression.
Mr. Smith, have you seen those before? Have you seen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen the smaller versions that you can kind of use for a more personal level. The playground ones are great. I haven't really seen one in person, only in video. So, but they're great.
Yeah, there was some talk also, and I'm not sure if we qualified it or not, or to have some more inclusive pathways. If you've been out to our playground, it's kind of that steep drop off, and then there's a bunch of wood chips. And so we've got a couple of students that are not able. We have a couple of students that are not able to access our playgrounds. They can't make those steps down. Hi, Mrs. Ward. How are you? Thanks for joining us. And so then from there, we may be getting some concrete pathways in there. I'm not sure if we were approved for that or not. So that's kind of here and there. So any other questions on that?
Thank you.
All right. So it's been decided by the powers that be that our district is going to explore, keyword in that sentence, a mill and bond for the next election cycle. So for those of you who are not familiar, we've got a lot of, I know, kindergarten parents on here. Ms. Ulrich, you might remember this. But a few years ago, we passed 3A and 3B. And so essentially, it's kind of a two-pronged funding piece. And I have a presentation that I need to share with you. Mrs. Ormsby's already seen it probably 97 times, but she's really excited about it. So in the mill and bond, so the mill is for essentially teacher salary. And then the bond is really more for some of those capital improvements, building improvements, so on and so forth. So let me just jump into the presentation. It's pretty exciting. So I'm sure that you guys will be riveted. And if you have any questions, just jump in because I have to go through this presentation. So I can't see your faces. So if they just have a question, just jump on in. So welcome. And so just some numbers around our district in case you didn't know. There's 89 schools, 48 elementary schools, 9 middle schools, 9 high schools, 18 charters, and 5 alternative schools. This is how much we generate in revenue every year, is at $640 million. We have 64,000 students, and what our district really likes to say is we are the largest employer in Douglas County with 86,000 employees. From there, as always, we want the best for our students. And those are some of the district kind of core values and what they're looking for. I'm giving you the summed up version. I could read point by point, but said I'm sure all got places to go. This slide's a little bit challenging, so let me make it a little larger. There we go. So from there, you can see we are the dotted line here, and this is all the average educator salary. And you can see we're kind of down here toward the bottom, and we have been since, roughly 2010. And you can see the steady incline with Boulder, and then more importantly, Cherry Creek, because there are direct rivals, and apparently this is a competition. From there, so how are we funded? And this is always a little bit confusing for people. Everybody always associates with, as soon as my property taxes go up, then the school gets more money. And that's not necessarily the case. So as you can see, Prosperity in Douglas County does not change the total funding. So what they have is what's called this state equalization piece. And so down here in the bottom, you can see, I think that's a paint can or it's a pail. I don't know what it is. But at the bottom down here is the local property taxes. And so if you live in Douglas County, if you pay X amount of taxes, then the state then backfills that red portion. And so, for example, if you lived in a place with lower property taxes, then the blue then gets less, then the state just fills in more red. But you're never going to get anything more than that bucket. So, even if our property taxes went all the way up above here to above the handle, it would just mean the state would give us less money. So that's why we have to pass mill and bonds to help fund our schools from there. And as you can see that when local funding goes up, then the state share decreases. And that's the visual on the paint can there. And thank you for putting the paint can. All right, so then that's what it has on there. You got the private sector and the public sector as far as our funding. And you can see those are tuition-based versus school act plus the mill levy override, which is what the MLO stands for. From there, you can see our funding history. We are, again, the bottom red line, and this is how much we are spending per pupil. And so every year you can see, if you can see up in the corner here, the first back in 2011, the funding gap, and that is between this little line here, if you can see my arrow. So that's the gap between us and Littleton, Cherry Creek, Boulder. You can see it was only $1,400, but now in 2021, it's nearly $2,500. And so obviously you can see the pay gap. This kind of steep curve was the last time we passed a mill and bond, which is each one of these curvatures. You can see Boulder has it written in their tax code that as things go up, their mill and bond automatically goes up, and that's why you can see that. And then you can see Cherry Creek is just kind of, you can see every few years they go and they pass from there, where Douglas County is fairly flatlined.
So to clarify for people who don't understand, this is money above and beyond what that equalization is of like the $8,000 per kid that the schools get. Sorry.
No, thank you. I said you've seen this probably as many times as I have. All right. So you can see the different facts and figures on there. I'm going through this fairly fast because there is a 99.99% chance you're going to see this presentation again in the fall, and then again in the fall, and then again just after the fall, and then right before the election time. From there, just some of the needs that are needed in our district. So you can see that the maintenance cost has gone up, and then you can see here that we had some deferred maintenance covered by the 2018 bond, and so we were able to reduce some of those things. For example, Cherokee Trail, we've got new skylights, we got new bathrooms, we got all new windows in our building, so that was really helpful to us. There's lots of different construction projects, so if you're not familiar with some of the other things, Pine Lane got a new roof. Sierra got a new almost everything. So it's just one of those pieces along the puzzle. And you can see we're still a ways to go in order to actually keep up with all the improvements we need to have moving forward. So you can see we have 111 buildings, and roughly we need $20 to $30 million of annual capital repairs and maintenance, which is all super. The last new neighborhood school built was in 2010, which is a long time ago. So for the money, so where does our money go? You can see the biggest chunk of money is the salary, so 63%. This PERA is the Employees of Douglas County's retirement fund. Then you can see benefits, services, supplies, other, an interfund transfer, but the majority of the district funding does go back to salaries. Not my salary, but teacher salary. So what you need to know, as you can see, small central administration compared to other districts. HR department has a staff of 23, Jeffco has 45, DPS has 137, just to kind of give you an idea of how many people are working in the central office, because usually people want salaries to go to staff as opposed to kind of central office people. And that's pretty much what our district has done. And you can see 85% is spent on people. From there, you can see the average salary. This is always a big deal. So you can see us down here at the bottom, $57,000 is our average teacher salary in Douglas County, which puts us way below everybody else, which makes it very difficult for us to compete with other districts as far as just recruiting teachers. Luckily for us, we are a popular destination, and so we've hired all our positions. But just to keep in mind, a few years ago, we'd have 100 people apply for positions, and this year we had like 4. So it's just different. So you can see the assistant principal starting salary, which I don't even have assistant principal, so that doesn't help us. But it is 10 to 12% below market value.
Well, like as like an AP, I could go to Adams 12 and make more money as a teacher than I make and high school APs are paid more than middle school or elementary. So if that gives you guys an idea of kind of the disparity, I guess.
Yep. And so for those of you who don't know, Ms. Ormsby has her parent hat on tonight, but when she goes to work, she is an assistant principal. She's a dean in our district. And so what she's saying is if she moves to a different district, she could make significantly more money. She just likes us better. So that's. I'm sorry, say that one more time.
If this bond passes, what is the target goal?
The bond?
Yes.
Yeah, let me. I think it's at there toward the end of the slide with some of the things that it would pay for the bond.
Okay.
So some of the things on here with the support staff. So for example, the starting salary for our campus security specialists and our EAs, and this really affects us. It's only $12.81 an hour, and so they can go literally across the street. McDonald's is on here, but McDonald's makes more money too, and so they can just make money elsewhere. It's why it's really difficult to find people to fill those positions.
So the mill is for, I thought you said it was for certified staff.
Yep.
Only.
Certified staff. Well, that includes classified staff as well. They're just trying to figure out salaries for people. The certified pay structure that is in place currently, that is just for certified staff. That just got ratified this year.
Oh, but the mill would affect classified
Correct.
salaries as
Correct.
well. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And so what Lacey's talking about is all of our teachers had a new compensation package that was funded for next year to help them raise their salaries. But that package is only funded for 2 years. And part of the mill would be then to fund that for an additional 5 years past that. But that package did not include classified staff. However, if we pass a mill and bond, then we'll be able to raise some of these hourly wages for our classified staff, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Okay. And so this is some of the things that they would want to do with that mill levy override, more mental health support, close the pay gaps and starting salaries. That's really the big one. More career and technical education, and then always help the building funds. And I think, yep. And here's what I think this is going to answer your question about where the bond goes for the capital funding. So critical capital maintenance for our buildings, the FPOD expansion at Castleview, which doesn't really help us. They also purchased that actually this is previous ones. So I'm not even up to date. So this is what happened in the 2018 is we got the FPOD expansion at Castleview. The district was able to purchase the wildlife experience. And so that's going to be a pretty big piece. We have all of our meetings there now, enhanced safety and security, which has really helped our school as well. And then enhanced address IT and transportation needs. So future needs. And so this is where we talked about before. So obviously we need the compensation package, but then the bond is new neighborhood schools, expand existing schools, and ongoing capital maintenance. And so that's essentially what the bond piece is for. Did I answer that question about the bond?
No, my question was, what is the target salary, the median target salary for teachers?
Oh, target salary. I would say, I think they would like to be they'd love to be competitive to Cherry Creek. But I think anything right now it would be better than where they're currently at. So for example, if you go to a teacher fair and you can talk to all of these districts right there, and all they have to do is go to our district webpage and see where they would stack out, and they know they can make more money elsewhere. So I think the goal is if we can pass this mill, that it would raise this, the salary so it to be somewhat competitive. They didn't give us a solid number. Like if we pass this, then we'll jump from 57,000 to 68. But I think the goal is to be more competitive with some of our neighboring districts, which would be Littleton and Cherry Creek for us. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. So from there, obviously, same thing we want for our students, greatest district of all time. And then if you'd like any feedback, you can screenshot the screen and then provide some feedback. But like I said, there is a very, very good chance that you will hear this many more times before the election cycle. And they, just to be clear, they have not decided to actually go for a mill and bond. They are right now just exploring the feedback piece to see if the community weighs in. And so if the community they think can support it, then they want to put it on the ballot and go for it. If the committee pushes back, or if the community, pushes back, then they will not. The other hard part, we talked about this in our PSP meeting prior to this, is that the majority of the Douglas County residents do not have students in the school system. So it's really, we're preaching to the choir when we talk to our families in schools. It's really the people outside. So does anybody have any questions on that very exciting presentation that was poorly delivered by me?
Actually, that's extremely informative for a start. So thank you.
Oh, just wait, Mr. Smith. You'll be able to speak to it. Like it's your own presentation here coming around October. You just wait.
That's awesome. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to stop presenting. And so you're unfortunately going to still have to look at my face, but I am going to turn it over to Ashley Jakubowski for our teacher update. But I think I'm going to turn the camera so she can get some face time.
Hello. I will be brief. I just have a few highlights of information to share on behalf of our teachers. Of course, they've been working hard administering CMAS the last 2 weeks. This year we did something kind of new where we had tenacious test taker tickets. So students who were working hard on CMAS testing filled out these little tickets and they got entered in a drawing, and PSP helped sponsor through a grant some prizes. And so every day we would draw random winners for candy bars or gift cards. I know classroom teachers did lots of rewards and incentives to do like some kickball games outside and games in the classroom and just whatever they could to celebrate how hard students were working during testing. Another event that's happened recently was 5th grade hosted a Hawk Quest assembly. And so they had birds of prey and other types of birds come in, and they hosted them in the cafeteria, and it was really cool. The kids loved it. The teachers loved it. We had staff members peering in, wanting to be a part of the Hawk Quest presentation. And so that was fun. We have iReady Diagnostic happening right now. And so teachers, again, are encouraging students to really show all they've learned. We're super excited as a staff to look at our spring iReady data because we have used Ready Math for the 2nd year, and then we've piloted the Benchmark Advanced program. And so all of our teachers have spent so much time in professional learning, getting a good handle on this curriculum and utilizing it in their classrooms. And like Mr. Miller mentioned, our school has been highlighted across the district for the work that teachers have done here using Benchmark. And we just really want to see what kind of effect that has had on our students, because we feel like we've seen them learn so much, and we hope iReady gives us a chance to really see that in a formal assessment. And then finally, it's just this great time of year where everything comes together in the classroom, right? Your kids know the systems and routines. You've built a great community, and you're celebrating all that you've done. We have field day coming up. Kindergarten has their little graduation celebration they've been preparing for. I know 1st grade is working on a market day project. I know that 6th grade will have their continuation and speeches at the end of the year. And so you'll be hearing from your own grade level, but each team has their own, closing activities that they're excited to do, especially now that we're kind of coming out of the pandemic, right? And resuming some of our previous traditions.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We just are starting to get kind of back to normal times. Lacey will talk about it here a little bit, but we had our first games night in a long time, and if you were not there, it was a wild wild experience. You very rarely have bingo and wild in the same sentence, but it definitely was wild. All right, so moving from there, I'm going to rotate the camera again. Deb Ormsby is here for our DAC update. Hold on to yourselves. Sometimes you get a little sick.
Seasick. Hey guys. So trying to par it down, I think there's a couple of things. If you guys remember back in the fall, we had a questionnaire that Josh went through with us, the SAC budget questionnaire. You guys remember that? We talked about our priorities. So there's a huge presentation about that disaggregates all the data, but the basic gist of it is that 70 SACs responded. And they basically came back with the same things that we did, which is that their number one priority among the schools was support for mental health. And then 2 was tutoring support. And then the 3rd was just focused summer educational supports for kids. So that was kind of one of the things that really, I guess, connects with what we do. One of the other things was the academic calendar. Some of you guys may have seen the survey that went out that talked about, what do you want for the academic calendar? Right now they're working on the 23-24, 24-25 calendar, which will be presented in September to the board. And basically the gists of that were that the overwhelming population wants a mid-August start, like from the 11th to the 20th, and to be out before Memorial Day, and that they value 1 week for fall break and 1 week for Thanksgiving break. Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very great.
So pretty much we don't want to go to school.
We just
That's
don't
right.
want to be here.
We're going to have
Nope.
a 7-day school year.
Yes, exactly. There was some talk, budget presentation, a little bit different than what Josh just shared with us. And I can share any of these presentations with you guys. Just let me know your email if you want them. But just talking about the budget, projected decline in enrollment, upcoming legislation, and review of the ESSER funds. And then just some more targeted talk around mental health and how it really is the foundation for kids learning.
And just thank you.
Yeah.
So just to piggyback on that, there's mine. Our school focus next year is going to be all SEL. So we have all of our curricular pieces in place. And so the next year that's going to be, we're doing a book study on it. All of our professional development will be on it, and all about supporting students, how to, teaching students how to re-regulate, help them just with emotional control and just how to solve problems. Because what we found this year so far is the kids are really not that far behind academically. They're still performing. It's all the social interaction pieces. It's been so difficult for them just to kind of get back into those routines at no fault of their own. They just haven't been exposed to it. It was a little bit of an adjustment. So you have to remember, we've got second graders in this building that have never set foot in a public school before in their life. So it's been a challenge, but what we've been seeing, we talked about at PSB, literally in the last probably 6 weeks or so, the kids are just now finally starting to get it. We've had teachers talk about how their behavior management systems are just now starting to take effect. The kids have finally got the routines and things. So that's always nice to hear. So on that note, I'll turn it over to Lacey. She loves being on camera, so I want to make sure that I turn so she can see it. It's her favorite thing in the whole world.
Hi. So in PSP, we have a very busy end of the year as well. We just had games night last night, which was a huge success. We had tons of families come out, and it was so nice to have just a community event again with all the kids and parents and everybody here and running around wild. But it was really good. I mean, Angela and Courtney donated ice cream for the event. So kids were coming up and they were like, how much is the ice cream? And we were like, it's free. And they were so happy to get an ice cream. So that was a really good event. We have our school dance coming up and Morning with Moms coming up. So a couple more fun events to celebrate. And next week is Teacher Appreciation Week. So PSP is busy finalizing all the ways we can tell our teachers thank you. We have lunches and breakfasts and snacks and gifts, things scheduled. More information will come in the Thursday folders and Scoop this week about how the kids can tell their teachers thank you. Yearbooks will be here, I believe, the last week of school. And
Can I interrupt real quick?
yeah.
Question. So for Teacher Appreciation Week, I guess the dumb question, is there a way to do that with the counselors and some of the other staff that comes in to help with the mental health and to walk with the kids or to visit with the kids? Ms. Dunkirk, and some of those that I don't know if they're, but I know for us, we'd like to be able to show some appreciation, and I don't know if they're getting the same
Yeah, absolutely.
advertising, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. I mean, as far as PSP, so when we provide lunch and breakfast and the little gifts that we do, it is always for all of the staff. So all the
Okay.
teachers, all the support staff, even including preschool, they're under a separate entity, but we still always include them. So absolutely, we definitely like to recognize them as well. And I have like a little program, I guess, that will be sent home this week just to try to get the kids involved. Like, hey, color this picture and tell a teacher why they are epicer. And one of the days is show your appreciation for our support staff. So our specials teachers, EAs, kitchen manager, everybody is included. And we absolutely, I mean, I would hope that the families would recognize those people too. But yeah, PSP absolutely includes them.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
I think that's it.
All right. All right. So any questions for anybody that presented tonight? Sweet. Okay. So that pretty much wraps up everything on our agenda. So our next meeting won't be until next year. And so just kind of moving forward, if you want to be a part of SAC, I mean, really just have to listen to me talk, which is fairly painful. So that's why we have to have people get voted in. And so if you're interested in that, we'll put out communication next year. But I want to open it up to anything else. If you've heard something in the community, you have something that's going on. I mean, we want to be the best school that we can be, and we are by far not perfect. So if there's anything that's going on, I'd love to hear about it.
Thanks, Josh. Can we send you questions regarding the lovely presentation that you went through?
Absolutely. So you guys you could send me communication any point in time. I had a conversation with my sixth graders today, and I told them it's shocking how easy it is to get hold of me. So you can send me an email, you can give me a call. I'll be happy to answer any questions, probably in better detail than I will. I can tonight get you some specific numbers and things like that. So the presentation was just delivered to us over the weekend. So I'm sure it'll be updated. You'll be an expert by the time the mill and bond comes. So
okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Well, thank you. This is our final SAC meeting of the year. I'm going to try not to get emotional about leaving you guys all until next year. So thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know it's not easy, but kind of the dual virtual and in person makes it easy for all of us. You guys can make it. So thanks so much for your time and your service. And then hopefully we'll see you all in the building very soon.
Thanks, Josh.
All right. You guys take care.
Thank you. Good night.
Sorry, I kept leaving. My husband left to kiss him.